You're now listening to Black No Filter with
That's Why I'm Fab.
No IG Angela.
LGK Music.
What is a brown skin girl? Who falls into the brown skin category? Like, and when I say that, obviously, I guess, so in the song, the Beyonce song, Brown Skin Girl,
Which I feel like she wrote just for me.
I don't know, is she referring to brown skin girls as opposed to other races? Or is she talking about brown skin in terms of like dark skin, not light skin? I don't know. She's talking about brown skin as in any brown skin girl.
I mean, the fact that she's got her daughter.
Yes, it's true.
On the song, she's definitely talking about all brown skin girls. Yeah.
But you say that, guys, but the lyrics really speak specifically about, she talks about Lupita, she talks about Kelly Rowland, and she talks about Naomi Campbell, and they are not the same complexion or shade, anywhere close really to blue. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really know. I feel like personally, the song is like what's the word? Homage? Which one? Homage. Thanks, Lyndon. I feel like the song is an homage to dark-skinned women or darker-skinned women, but I also think it's for brown women. That's my personal opinion, because she's got blue in the video, right? But the video, the lyrics of the song specifically talk about women who are darker skinned.
Wait, is there a video? I don't think there's a video.
Yeah, there is.
There is.
I haven't seen a video.
Yeah. And then I mean, like, I think a lot of people are asking questions, because you know what, I actually think the term is different depending on where you're from. So for instance, like if you're, I can only speak about Jamaica, but I would kind of say if you're in the Caribbean or from the Caribbean, like if you're brown, you're actually someone who's probably not like light, but you're kind of like medium complexion. So when me and my sister went to Jamaica, they called my sister Brownin. They're like, oh, she's browning, or she's a brown girl. And then they would call me like dark skinned. But my sister wouldn't classify herself as light skinned, and I don't think she falls into light skinned category. So
that's another interesting.
To be honest, a whole like brown skinned girl, like I think it depends on where you're from.
That's another interesting like thing, like what is light skin, what is dark skin. So like even before we go into what we're going to speak about, what is light skin, what is dark skin, is there a middle ground? Who determines where everybody falls? Because that to me is really interesting, and I know that like obviously it has like deeper roots, but I think even today, like who determines? So people would prefer to, I'm interested to hear, I'm surprised to hear that people wouldn't refer to your sister as light skin, and your sister's considerably lighter than I am. And I find people refer.
So?
Yeah,
No,
I think so.
no.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Nah, she's not.
No. Nope. No way.
She's like Lyndon's complexion, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you're not the same complexion as Lyndon.
Maybe I'm lost, but I think in my head, like, so there'll be conversations like, the light skinned girl, and in my head I've never considered myself as light skinned.
Who called you the light skinned girl?
The first time, I think one of the first times I remember like that being a thing, I was walking home with a group of girls, and one of the girls in the group was smoking after secondary school, smoking. And the next day, I think one of her aunties had driven past us, and she came and told the school, like, I saw a group of girls, and there was one tall, light-skinned girl. I think she called me light-skinned or mixed race. What? And I said, eh? So after all of it, it's only because they said tall, I thought, okay, that's probably me. And that's when it's just like, oh, like, and then obviously other conversations, and I just think in my head, light skinned, I mean, I don't know who determines what's light skin, who's dark skin, what's mid, like to me that's such a very, because I don't know what the lines are for that. Like to me it's to me that's wild. This is
even
such
trying to say the word brown skin means brown
skin, yeah,
which can be dark and can be light.
Exactly.
The thing is though, guys, if Beyonce wanted to, she could have called the song Dark Skin Girls.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like she could have done.
This is so interesting.
She was,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was gonna say. I think
St.
someone
John.
else wrote it, and then she obviously
the Guyanese person. That's that person's Guyanese, I think.
St. John.
Think so.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's intriguing. Like I wonder why, like, we nearly got this obsession with like shades and stuff like that. That is so like that's never really I don't think until I went to secondary school and then went to uni, that was a constant conversation. Probably because in primary school, we were one of the only black people. And even in secondary school, to be honest, I was like, there weren't that many black people in my year.
Who called you light-skinned then in secondary school? Another black person or a white person?
Black person.
Because I don't think
a white person.
white people don't refer to you as light-skinned or dark-skinned. They're just like, she's
just
black
people, yeah. So I didn't, like, this is the obsession with, like, oh, this person is dark and this person, oh, and I know I'm light in this person and I'm dark in this person. No, to me, it's just like, it's interesting or shocking to know how you're viewed by other black people. That's what I think. Yeah.
And I didn't know I was dark skinned until I went to university. because when I went to a very white school, first of all, I grew up in Manchester in the 80s. Then I moved to Bristol and I went to a very white school. So nobody was calling me light or dark skinned. Somebody called me dark skinned at church. Yep. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm darker than my mum and I'm darker than my sister. And my little brother wasn't born at the time. So I was like, oh, am I dark skinned? Because we didn't really talk about complexion in my family, to be very honest with you. So I was just like, oh, okay. And then I went to university and I went to uni and I lived with a girl and we did the same course. And somebody was describing me and my friend, and we arrived late to university as a standard. And we got to our lecture and they were like, oh, who are those two late girls? And they said, one is the black girl who looks Indian, and that's my friend who's half Singaporean, and one is the black girl who's dark skinned. And I said, well, that must be me then. But it was a Nigerian person describing the two of us, because I just white people don't really, in my opinion, in my experience, they don't really refer to black people by shades. That's not a black on black crime, but it's definitely
something that we do to ourselves.
I think it's something they do see, but they just don't really.
I don't even think they know how to.
They can't
articulate
it.
They
can't.
I think they're just like, what?
They know there's a difference. I was talking to my boss a couple of weeks ago, and she's trying to describe the difference between Stephanie and Aaliyah.
Oh, really?
She just couldn't find the words. I was like, you mean Aaliyah's light skin? She's like, yeah.
I don't think they know if they're allowed to say it.
Nah.
Do you know what? Maybe that's how black people should be. Maybe we shouldn't be allowed to say it, and maybe it would just be something it's just not important.
No, exactly.
But I also have to say, I feel like, and I could be wrong, and I'm not going to be the dark-skinned girl who's angry, because I'm really not angry. I'm very, very happy with my colour. I think because for the majority of my life, I was taught that it was a blessing. I was never told it was anything negative or anything to be upset about. But I think now when I look back and think about people describing me as dark-skinned, it was almost like they didn't do it gleefully, but they're like, oh, but you're dark-skinned and I'm not dark-skinned. So you're almost beneath me, which I found very strange. If I think about university, they'd be like, oh, but you're dark-skinned and I'm not dark-skinned. I don't think another dark-skinned person ever referred to me as dark-skinned. I think, looking back, it was probably somebody who was medium complexion or light-skinned referring to me as dark-skinned. And I find that just a bit of a madness.
That's so wild to me.
Could you describe a scenario?
Yes, that's what I want to know.
Probably, I think I must have gone to an ACS event, and I think they were asking everyone to bring food, and then I think someone said, who made, I don't know, I probably made chicken, to be honest with you, who made the chicken, and they're like, oh, it's the dark-skinned girl, the dark-skinned Jamaican girl. And I just found that wild.
That's so wild to me.
I found it so strange, and I was just like, this is very strange, but I was like, okay, I'll just take it. But if I think about it, I think for the majority of my experiences at university, it was always somebody who was of lighter complexion saying that to me. So I don't know if there was something, if they felt like, oh, she's darker skinned, so I'm superior to her. I don't know. I mean, we're talking about chicken at ACS. Do you know what I mean? It's not that serious. But yeah, that's my experience, to be honest with you. It's a bit of a strange one. But it's really interesting. So my sister, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but oh well, she said lots of guys when she was at university, they were like, oh, we wish you were dark-skinned, we're really into dark-skinned girls. And she said that she found it a madness and she was like, first of all, I'm not light. So she was like, what do you mean? She was like, I'm not light-skinned. And they were like, oh yeah, but wish you were that Nubian blackness. And she's like, what the hell does that mean? And I said, babes, I can't help you. Because I think what they want, I don't think I really have it. I mean, I don't know. But she would say many times, guys say to her, oh, no, I'm not really into girls your complexion. I like dark-skinned girls. And she was like, so what am I supposed to do? And I was like, I don't know.
It's a weird one. I think my experience has probably been like, from what you're talking about, your experience, complete opposite. Like, I think the only time that I've had conversations about like light skin, dark skin has been a dark skin person saying, "Oh, you're light skin," or saying, "Oh my gosh, I saw you," and like, "Oh my gosh, your skin is so light," or something. And I just think that's the most awkward. That's the most weird, and maybe it's because maybe I haven't experienced it as much because people can identify me by other factors, like, oh, like the tall girl or the girl from Rwanda. So like, say they'll never have to say, like, maybe there's several girls from Jamaica and they're trying to now make another differentiation between you and them.
Okay.
But like, any time that has come up in conversation, I just think, how awkward. Like, what does that even? It's just a weird. I think what I was trying to say is that I think it's been the opposite way. I think anytime when I think about conversations about skin color, it's always been a dark skin person telling me like, "Oh, or someone who's darker telling me like, "Oh, you're light, oh, that light skin girl," like, "Oh, what do you use on your skin?" or something like really
what do you use
weird.
On your skin?
Let me tell you, university was a weird, like, conversations about skin color was so odd. Then I remember several different, like, people just even greeting you, like someone who's known you for a long time, and like being like, "Oh, that you're really light skinned. You're really light skinned." Like, but you saw me yesterday, and you saw me the day before, and you saw me the day before, and I'm not light skinned. I really, like, to me, when I think about light skinnedness, I think like someone to say that, like, in nearly like a shock, and maybe that's even me and my. That's a problematic kind of like thought, but like someone like Jay from My Wife and Kids, that's something like that person's very fair, like very yellow. So you just think it's just a bit of a weird, especially if someone knows you, to say that it's something that you can tell it's a fixation rather than like a first time meeting you. "Oh, you're tall. Oh, you're from Rwanda. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you know me and you're saying that to me, I just think it's it's really odd.
That is so funny because I think the first time I met you, one, I didn't think you were tall.
You what?
Do you know why? Because it was chat and everybody was wearing heels. You didn't realize.
I was like, "You're not tall," and you were like, "No, I am." I was like, "No, you're not," and I made you stand up, and and I was like, "Wow, you really are." Number one, one, I didn't know you were from Rwanda.
No, you didn't.
But I thought you were from East Africa, but I knew you weren't Jamaican because of how you were talking. And three, I didn't think you were light. But then I did say to you the other day, I said, "Wow, Angela, you're light skinned," and I think you were angry, and I said, "Whoop, sorry."
Why did you say that to her?
And listen, that's not the first time, Lyndon. There was another time when we were at airport, we were at the airport, and her and your lovely wife, Stephanie, were like,
"Do you know why?
What?
Do you know what the common factor was? Both times I saw her and she didn't have any makeup on. So I was like, "Oh, you're lighter than I realized." But it surprised me. That's why I said it. Because I've never said it to you before.
I'm rolling my eyes, guys.
And I said, "Wow, Angela, you're actually light, you know."
No, is this not just the scenario she just...
No, I mean, yes, it is.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, but it shocked me. Stephanie,
and
isn't it true?
And you know what's so weird? I'm not gonna let you like squirm in this weird conversation, but do you know what's weird? Yeah, what is when people say that? Listen.
It's the foundation. The foundation can really change you. Do you know what? Let me tell you. Because actually, the other day I had on something and someone said to me, "Wow, your whole body's very light. It's just your face that's dark." And I said that's a very interesting thing to say, but it's because of makeup. I'm telling you.
Okay, but I think what's even weirder is like it's just also like if someone says, "Oh, you're dark skin," or "You're light skin," or "You're middle skin," whatever. What's the response to that? It's like when people sing happy birthday to you, what do you look at them in their face?
Oh,
do you sing with them?
You say thank you.
Do you know? But that's a long song. Do you sing with them? Do you look down? Do you smile? Like what? Like that's. I think that's what makes it even more awkward. It's kind of like sad, and then you know,
Well, I have no anecdotes.
Do you feel
to skin color at all?
Did guys ever know?
Really?
Well, actually, no. When I was in year 7, one mixed race guy actually called me Somalian.
What?
Yeah, and then one Asian guy said, "Oh, aren't you mixed race?"
To you?
Yeah.
Guys, Lyndon doesn't look mixed race.
No, I know, but if you look at the other dark skinned guy that was in my class, he was very, very, very dark.
Right.
So maybe they just saw the difference and thought, wait, maybe you've got a bit white in you.
I just think
And also, there was actually another guy in my class who was the same colour as me, but he was half Ghanaian, half white.
Right. Like Jordan from Love Island. Jordan's half Ghanaian and half
yeah.
white, but I thought he was black.
Yeah,
Not that it really matters.
Exactly.
Do you know? And you just said something else, and like,
Oh no!
listen, I just remembered. No, you just no. I'm just no, not you. I'm just. It's just. I remembered something. Do you know? Even growing up, people would not believe, and you have to understand, we're growing up in a time where majority of the people thought that maybe the countries in Africa like were Nigeria and Ghana, and then I don't think people really, apart from like maybe white South Africans, really knew like the other countries and what people look like. But people would really find it a hard time trying to figure out where I was from and believing that I was from Africa. You must have something else in you. Like, are you like, is it one of your parents mixed race? No, I'm African. Are you sure you're not Caribbean? No, I'm African. And I think it was because they couldn't pair the fact that I was the skin complexion that I was, and I was from Africa. Like, I think they just thought that people from Africa were just dark skinned.
Yeah, because that's the only thing they've ever seen.
No, that's true. But I think now in the age of like people
are also dark skinned.
No, but I think that people saw a wide range of skin shades, and so when they thought about people who were like fairer, they would say, they probably hadn't noticed that or didn't have enough knowledge of Africa to know that there's different skin shades, and from the same countries or from various countries have different looks.
Yeah.
But I think now with people knowing like a lot about East Africa or other countries or South Africa, or
just
even
like the information
West Africa,
age,
exactly.
Like, people can find stuff out if they want to very easily now. Whereas I guess before, like what you're saying is maybe like with the era that you were growing up when you were very young, people had to have like a personal experience of somebody who was African, who perhaps wasn't dark skinned and wasn't someone who's represented on TV. Because those times, like even if you look at that TV show, how rude. Even if you look at the iconic show Desmond, the guy who was African, where was he from? Malawi.
I didn't know.
I don't know.
I don't know if they really said, but he was dark skinned and he was forever studying. So actually, that's like what the media portrayed at the time. An African is someone who's dark skinned, speaks with a clipped accent, and he's always studying. So do you know what I mean?
And I had a little conversation with one of my friends, and she's from Grenada, and she was saying that growing up, she said that she felt closer to Africans, or she felt like she identified more with like the Africans in her school, because growing up a lot of the time people would say, oh, you're dark skinned, you must be African, or no, you're not Caribbean, you're African. And so this is actually a very recent conversation that we had like probably a couple of weeks ago, and it's only now that I'm remembering her saying that, and saying like people used to just say, oh no, you're African, you must be African because you're so dark skinned. And actually, like she doesn't look like Lupita, or like she doesn't look like a darker skin, like say like from Sudan or something, like just a normal, like a brown skin, like I don't know what normal, maybe that's even problematic me saying normal, but like nothing super unique.
Yeah.
So it's really like
she's not outside of the norm. You wouldn't look.
No.
Many people would, but I mean, I even want to. I wish somebody in my school said you look like the other Africans. There were no other Africans. So I think that's why they didn't say it. There were no other black people.
No.
Do you know, like it just wasn't, and I don't know what they would have done had they met someone from Africa. However, I remember my best friend at university my first year, she's a Nigerian girl, and that's important because her sister went to boarding school. She went to a very elite boarding school, so they were international students, and her sister would come and stay with us, and her sister would come and complain about people asking her, oh, so do you hunt lions in your back garden? And she was like, you have to understand, Fabrice, I'm going to school with like the sons and daughters of people who are running our country. Like she went to a very, very elite boarding school, like in the Midlands. And she said people would ask me, oh, do you have lions? Do you have tigers? Like, do you go hunting on the weekend?
Can I just say that tigers are not even in the
continent
of Africa? Yeah.
And she was just like, and she said she would get so angry about it. And I was like, that's insane. But then, like, I guess people just know what they know. Do you know what I mean? So if there's Africans in your school and they happen to be darker skinned at that particular time, maybe you think Africans are darker skinned. But nowadays, hello, it's 2019.
No, it's true. Now.
There's no excuse.
Now.
Yeah, back then, all they knew about Africa was Lion King. Or Tarzan or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's very true.
But now, like, it's a different age. Do you know what? I had a conversation with my flatmate, and ages ago actually, and I was telling her, I was randomly saying to her, we were talking about like the amount of black people that we see on TV and how it's changing, and how like growing up and stuff, like I didn't always see a woman who looks like me, but now it's so exciting. I think I was saying I was going to Atlanta, and I was saying, oh my goodness, in Atlanta, you know, there's black people everywhere, like at every level of society, and it's so shocking, but it's really strange that I feel so shocked by it. And she's like, oh, what do you mean? And I said, like, you know, when you turn on the telly, like the news reporter's black, or like the weather person's black, or the police officer's black, like the criminal might be black, but also like the mayor's black, do you know what I mean? And she was like, oh, okay. And I said, think about when you were watching TV, I said, think about any black shows that you watch. And she's kind of like, she's quite woke, I'd say. I'd say she's as woke as she can be. That's where I put her. And I said, think about the amount of black TV shows that you've watched, or shows with a black man, and think about the complexion of his wife or his partner. And I said, has she ever been dark skinned? And she was like, yeah. I said, okay, cool. Which ones? And she was like, okay, well, let me have it. I said, yes. So what we're going to do is...
Dark skin and Viv, that's the one.
Her?
Dark skin Aunt Viv.
Dark skinned Aunt Viv was only there for one season.
Three, actually.
Was she really?
Yeah.
I feel like she was there for the
2 or 3.
How many seasons were there?
The majority.
How many seasons were there altogether?
6.
She was there for the seasons that matter.
No, she was there for half. It was half and half.
She was definitely there. She was definitely for 1 and 2. I can't remember if she was in 3.
But
either she was pregnant in the 3rd one, and then after she had the baby, they moved to the light skin Aunt Viv.
She was there for the seasons that mattered. When I turn it on
100%.
and I see light skin Aunt Viv, I just think, no, this is not the episodes I like. Even like My Wife and Kids, the first season they had a dark skinned daughter, what's the daughter's Claire, and then they changed her, and it was like, what?
But the answer is, how many? Do you know what I mean? Like, how many shows are portraying a dark-skinned man, or a black man, whatever shade? Doesn't mean, that's not actually the question. The question is, how many shows with a black male lead have a woman who is dark-skinned or medium complexion? And honestly, apart from Aunt Viv in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I actually couldn't think of any. And my flatmate was like, oh my gosh, it's so true. And I said, like, it's on purpose. It's not a crazy coincidence, or like, oh my goodness, it's an accident, or we've completely overlooked this and I don't know how we missed this. I said, no, like for me, I think it's definitely on purpose. And I was very aware of that growing up. And I wonder if that's the sort of things that's made black people think you're light skinned, you're dark skinned, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? Because maybe that's like, if we're looking for representation, like in the media or whatever, and you don't see it, and you constantly see one particular like complexion, maybe deep down that's an issue for you, and that's why you're starting to categorize people like at university or wherever it is. And I don't know, white people don't have that problem. Like, that's not an issue that they have to deal with.
No. It's actually really wild. I'm trying to think of all of the shows I used to watch.
Yeah.
If you go through Trouble, think about
I'm really
every single show on Trouble.
I mean, thank God for Moesha, innit?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Moesha.
Yeah.
Moesha was all dark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's
That's
that.
a good one.
And then there was Everybody Hates Chris.
I think it was because it was set around her. Brandy.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. So that she had to be. Brandy is the shade that she is.
Yeah.
And then her parents couldn't be out here being, I don't know, Jay from Wife and Kids. It wouldn't make sense.
No,
I mean, it makes sense to My Wife and Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even if you go back to
like Junior is dark. Well, Junior is let's say medium dark skinned, and his 2 sisters are light skinned. You see, like they couldn't make it. They could have made it make sense if they wanted to. And plus, she's Moesha's stepmom.
Then the Cosby Show, they had Felicia Rashad, who's kind of light skinned, but then they had like different.
Yeah, the kids were all quite different, weren't they?
Yeah.
Which I just kind of think makes sense, because in my own family, everyone's a different shade. And whilst I'm like the only child for my mother and my father, actually my siblings for both sides of my family all have the same sets of parents, and they're all 3 very different shades. Like very, very different shades. My littlest brother, like people ask him all the time if he's mixed race, and he gets very angry about it. And my sister is maybe a shade or 2 lighter than me, and they have the same parents. And then on my other side, I have my sister who's lighter than me, and my brother who's probably the same complexion as me, I think. Yeah, I'd put him at the same as me. So like, it's just, I feel like with the Cosby Show, the different shades, like I think it's just life.
Can I ask, with the Cosby Show with the different shades, were the girls a variety of shades?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I only had one boy and he was dark skinned.
Oh yeah, it was only one boy.
So 2 dark skinned girls and 2 light skinned, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the 2 older girls are light skinned and 2 younger girls are darker. Everyone hates Chris as well. There's the whole dark skinned family.
Come
apart
on,
from the one
Lyndon.
boy.
Yes.
But I did hear that they actually tried to make
Her light.
Yeah.
He
They
had
tried
to
to make the
fight.
mom
Terry
like
Crews
no.
said-
In fact, they tried to make the mom a different race.
Oh yeah, you're right. They wanted to be a different race, and
Yeah.
he had to fight
Yeah.
for her to be black and to be that shade of black.
Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Terry Crews was talking about it, but he was talking about Chris Rock, saying he had to really say, no, she needs to be this shade.
They wanted them. So this is supposed to be a story of Chris Rock, and they wanted them to be a different race.
Yeah.
Look at madness.
Yeah.
What that's all madness.
Which
and
means they
and
must
they
have
cry
got-
about like Batman, or I don't know, James Bond being coming out as
Or The Little Mermaid,
Yeah.
which is a cartoon. And
people
they're
want
saying, not my Ariel. I'm going to need everyone to calm down.
anyway. Yeah.
Which means they must have got the little girl last then, because it makes sense if they got the 2 boys who are kind of like
Oh, yeah.
middle kind of
That's
brown,
true.
but the little girl was like dark skinned, so they must have got them both at the same time.
And the Bernie Mac show.
I can't remember who the woman looks like.
It's, she's the same complexion as the woman in Everybody Hates Chris.
Okay.
I don't know
remember who
what
she
her
is.
name is. Let me Google her quickly. But yeah, the Bernie Mac show. But like, I mean, I don't know. But those are the ones I can
Actually,
think of.
and I mean, they weren't coupled up, but like girlfriends, they had a variety of shades. I mean, I know the main lead was, what's her name?
Joan.
Joan. No. The lead was Thingy Ross, the one that's in.
Yeah. Oh wait,
Blackish?
no, is that not her name?
Yeah, the one that's in Blackish. No, Jones was the name of the other lady.
Was it?
What's
I thought her name was Joan.
Tracy Ellis Ross.
Tracy?
Yeah, Tracy Ellis Ross. Is
Tracy
that
Ellis
Ross. No.
name not Joan?
No, not in the show.
Her name was Joan in the show.
Joe. I thought you said Jones.
No, Joan. Yeah.
Joan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, Kalita Smith is the woman from the Bernie Mac
Oh yeah,
show.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Sorry, but yeah, you're right. Girlfriends, they had 2 light, 2 dark. Yeah, you're right.
They had the variety. I
I
mean,
think that was on purpose.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think that would have been on purpose.
Girlfriends was a sick show, by the way.
It's
I don't
one
know
of
why
my
it didn't get a
favourites.
proper ending.
It's one of my favorites. One of my favorite shows. But yeah, I don't know. It's but definitely in this country, I can't think of.
I mean, first of all,
Listen.
we get a black show.
First of all, we don't have
No, it's
black-
not black shows. But I'm saying if any black person turned up on anything, The Bill or I don't know,
The Bill?
Casualty.
Nah, actually.
Yeah?
No, remember that the dark skinned woman from EastEnders? She was in the bill.
Oh, is it? I don't know.
What's her name? Was it Denise or something?
Her name is Denise in EastEnders.
Yeah. Yeah, Denise in EastEnders. She was in the bill.
Yeah. To be honest, guys, I only know the titles of the show because I wasn't allowed to watch them. So all I can tell you is The Bill,
I don't
Casualty, and EastEnders.
I don't remember seeing any British TV show with a darker skinned female lead. But then, do you know what happened, everybody? Then Shonda Rhimes came on
yes?
the scene and
Oh,
she
yeah.
just changed everything up. Do you know what someone told me? That when you go for a casting for a Shonda Rhimes show, actually there's no race associated to the roles.
Oh.
Except for the lead. So she wanted to make the lead for, oh my goodness, Scandal. That was it was meant to be for a black woman. There was no ambiguity around that. But actually, for all the other parts, for all the other roles, there was no race assigned. That's why the roles look like it's just random. And apparently that was something that had never been done in Hollywood before, or had been done on a very small scale.
Yeah.
But the same. So she's a writer, or the lead writer for Scandal. Then she took over for Grey's Anatomy.
She took over for Grey's Anatomy.
Maybe she just had Grey's Anatomy.
I
I thought she
that
was definitely
hers.
beginning.
Sorry, everybody.
I might be wrong though.
Sorry, everybody. Maybe that's hers. Maybe it's hers.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with them. So I don't know if you watch it. I used to watch it religiously, but again, there's no race associated to the roles.
Who did
the
How
roles
to Get
are just
Away with
random.
Murder?
Yeah.
Her as
Shonda
well.
Rhimes.
Well,
Same thing again in terms of
she
the
didn't
casting
write it,
for the
but
roles.
she's like an executive producer, and then one of her proteges wrote it.
And then the same thing for Private Practice. So if you look at her shows,
It's so mixed.
they're
It's
very
nice.
mixed, but they're mixed on purpose. I
Yeah.
mean, aside from the lead, because obviously How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal, she wanted that to be a black female of a particular shade. But actually, I don't know about the shade, but she wanted to be a black
I don't think
woman.
the shade would.
I can't talk
For
about
Scandal,
the
I
shade.
doubt the shade was in
Yeah.
because she's in between. I don't think they
I
would
don't
have.
know, Lyndon. I don't know. Is she in between? I remember reading an
Kerry
article in
Washington,
Essence, and
yeah.
they were saying that Shonda Rhimes. So in America, How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal aired on a Thursday for a long time, and they called it like Shonda Day or whatever. And they were like, that's what they were talking about, and they were saying it's amazing.
TGIT.
Yeah, and they were saying it's amazing to turn on the TV and to see two dark-skinned women on like as the lead in the show.
But that's what I'm saying.
So
Dark skin and light skin, that changes.
I don't know.
That changes depending on who and what country you're talking, where you are. Like in America, because of the vast. That there's such the black population there is so much bigger, and there's a great there's the varied shades. So I feel like when they talk about dark skin, when they think about light skin, I think they're thinking about people like Jay from I Think Kids, like Tracy Ellis Ross, like Tracy, like because the rule of like one drop, like so really now who you're considering as black, well, who we would say is our mixed race here, they would consider as black there.
True.
And so now what is light skin and what is middle, what is dark skin is actually completely different.
That's very true. I remember my stepmom said my stepmom who's mixed race, she's half Guyanese and half Irish. I want to get that wrong.
It doesn't matter. It's half white.
Yeah. So she said that she went to Atlanta when she was 16, and she said she grew up in Liverpool, and like there were lots of mixed race people in Liverpool, and she went to Atlanta, and they were like, "Oh, you're black," and she said that was the first time someone told her she was black, and she was like, "No, I'm mixed race," and they were like, "Mixed what? You're black." They were like, "Nah."
Lauren London.
Yeah,
she calls herself black.
Yeah,
all these they all call themselves black, and I guess it's just different. What I think that yeah.
Look, even the other day we were talking about Jordan Woods, and I said, "Oh, her mum isn't black," and someone said, "Her mum is black," and I said, "Huh?" And I had to eat my own words. I said, "Oh, do you know what? Actually, you're right. Like the spectrum in America is actually really, really broad." And I remember when I went to New Orleans, I'd never seen so many light-skinned people in all my life. Like light-skinned, and they all had like greeny, bluey, grey eyes, and I was just really surprised because they were like, "No, we're black," or like, we're not mixed." I was like, "Oh, okay." Like, far be it from me to tell you like what you are, but I guess we don't have that wide of a spectrum here, so I don't know. Would you say that we are more or less obsessed with color here than in America? I
think the black community here is still obsessed.
But why though? Like, is it because is it because we're immigrants?
It's just because we're the ones that are black. We're the ones that see the differences. So general white people don't really care. Really, truly about
unless they're casting for a show.
Unless they're what?
Casting a part for a show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they see it.
Do they see it?
I think they do. I think they try. Like you look at train adverts. Look at train adverts. Look at any advert where there's a couple and they try to do like a interracial couple. They really stay away from picking anyone with darker skin. It's so
really?
What? Yeah. Look at this. I've looked
for females.
For
not
females.
For men.
Yeah,
for men it's fine.
For females.
Okay.
Even if you look at ASOS, even if you look at anything modeling for anything, like I think for men you can pretty much be, in my opinion, any shade. Yeah. But for women, like it's a particular look. I like to call it the racially ambiguous look. Like she could be from anywhere.
So me, Lyndon, Steph, and Fabrice had a conversation quite early on in our friendship. It was enough time has passed for us to learn and grow and mature. Okay, so we were all Lyndon actually asked us nothing, but we were chatting away.
Amen.
Chatting, and obviously
and
the Bible actually warns us that doesn't even say this, but it says basically with many words come many opportunities to trip and fall and choke on them.
Where is that from, please?
I'll chapter verse that for you at the end.
Thank you.
So then we were talking about types, and then we start talking about like, oh no, I prefer light skinned guys. No, I prefer dark skinned guys. I mean, I'm not the one that said light skin. Won't say who. I'm just saying.
You're gonna at me, I'll do my whole story by myself.
I unatted myself.
Can I just say I was so disgusted?
Yeah.
Oh, Lyndon was so.
I was.
Let's tell you the truth. Yeah. So we were chatting. Oh no, you know what? I like tall guys. Oh, and I like chunky guys. Listen.
So much, Angela.
Listen, let me just
land. Let's to the
I'm
end.
trying to land, and actually, you're let me just land. Yeah. So talking, and then it comes to complexion, and at the end of this, Lyndon gives us a look of disgrace
and disappointment,
disappointment and concern, and he said. I think, what did he say?
He said, is this light skin complexion thing really important for you?
No, is this type thing? He said, is this shade? He didn't even say light skin only. He said, is this shade thing, is this really, is this a real thing? And
but he asked it like, like when your dad asks you a question.
Yeah, are you being for real?
Like, hold on, are you actually my child? Because you disappointed me, not once but twice. Get your life together.
Are you sure? And I think with our chest, we said, yeah. Then we went away and we thought, and
we actually went away independently, didn't we?
And we came back together.
And we said, you know what?
You know what? Maybe we're wrong. And then we came back, and I feel like that conversation kind of happened one last time,
Yeah.
And we mentioned something around that, and then you actually addressed it head on, and you said, no, like this.
You said something like, I don't know what you said, but it was something like, I'm actually disappointed, and I thought better of you. That's the one that hurt me. It went straight to my heart. I said, whoa. He was like, no, I thought better of you, actually.
I think because he gave us time to think and we came back with the same foolishness. And now a year later...
do you know what?
Delivered.
Type is irrelevant and it's silly.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
Let's not... because we still got type.
No.
Wait, hold on. Did you guys both have the same type?
No.
But,
right.
You rebuked us both. You rebuked us both.
So it was more Fabrice on the light.
The whole name. Yeah. The whole name, Fabrice. Yeah?
That's why I'm fab.
But I thought you were disappointed in all of us because we had a type in terms of shade.
No, I was more disappointed in Fabrice.
Oh, let me
guys with a beard.
Oh,
that was just funny to me.
Oh,
that was funny.
No, wait, hold a second. So, okay, so the world.
This is what happens when you try to...
Because Angela's already told the world.
You tried to say the whole story without adding people, and at the very end, the person you tried not to add just completely puts you on blast.
So you were disappointed with me because I said at that time, because it was at that time and it's not anymore, and all of you in this room know, I have dated, lots of different complexions since that time, have I not?
Well, that's why it didn't make sense.
Given everybody equal chances.
That's why it didn't make sense.
Yeah, because Lyndon. But hold on, you were more disappointed in me because I said that my type was a light skinned guy.
No, I thought both of your little types were a bit silly.
Little types?
I thought it was a bit silly. Why
was mine worse than Angela's?
Like the bald head, the beard,
at me.
just seemed a little bit. Okay.
No, you didn't hear that until much later on,
right.
Lyndon.
What?
You didn't hear that type until much later on.
But the light skin guy thing, I was like, what? Hold on, really? You?
Why? Yeah. Anyway, guys, you know what? Wisdom, age, and growth are wonderful things. Yeah. And a hallelujah that I have been able to benefit from all
I don't know
three.
if this is actually going to podcast, to be honest with you.
What? Why?
I don't know.
Why?
All right, cool.
It needs to go in the podcast because it's going to get to dating preferences.
Yeah.
We need to get there swiftly.
Yeah.
All right.
So it has to go in.
So,
this is a different angle to where we thought we were going to go anyway.
Where do you want to go?
I mean, I thought we were talking about...
Yeah, no.
Talk about dark skin
We're
guys.
going there. We're going there. We're going there.
To light skin girls.
I was landing.
Oh, all right, land.
Okay. So, Lyndon has just was more, now we find out, was more disappointed in Fabrice's. But I actually found out, so to be honest, I've never, before, my preference wasn't light skinned. I think I had a stronger preference for darker skinned guys. However, I started to realize that that's still problematic because you need to think about why. And actually, I don't really feel, I feel like, let me phrase this properly. I don't know why that's my preference. So that's probably issue number one. But I think that also I've seen since then lots of women who prefer dark-skinned guys, but prefer them because they would say, they come across more manly, because they're darker skinned, or they're more masculine, and that presents a problem because then if you associate darker skin with masculinity, where do dark skinned women fall? Do you now find them? And this is what I feel like the issue is. I feel like sometimes dark skinned women are not represented in shows and stuff like that in like a couple because the connotation is that what's the word I'm looking for? That people associate dark skinness with masculinity when it comes to a man, and so when it's a woman, they are seen as less feminine, and that's problematic. So for me, I would have to. That's why I had to say, okay, you know what? Let me stop saying. I don't know why my preference is dark skin men. I'm trying to figure out, but let me stop having that preference because I've seen where that can be an issue, like in terms of like looking for that more in guys. Why am I looking for that more in guys?
Put a pin in that a second. So you see how you said something to do with the women maybe appearing a bit more masculine if they're dark
or less.
So when we're talking about the dark skinned women in the TV shows, right? If we look at dark skinned Aunt Viv, talk about Moesha and Moesha's stepmother. We think about Everyone Hates Chris.
Yep.
If you look at their personality,
yes.
What was their personality like?
Very strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
Strong.
Quite loud.
Yeah.
Quite abrasive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leaning towards that.
Yeah.
And I see, and that's where you start to feel like I think they associate light skinness to being more stereotypically feminine, soft, more like gentle and quiet, or more like quote unquote ladylike, and that's a real problem. So maybe that's the reason why you'd scrap. For me, I've decided to try to scrap types in terms of like shade, in terms of cut, like not to include that in what I say.
Yeah, I mean, it's all like, I guess when you deep it, it's actually just how close can we get to whiteness, yeah? So it's like proximity to whiteness, yeah? Basically. And the closer we are to whiteness, then the more soft, feminine people are. Because actually, lots of people, and I have loads of cousins who are light-skinned, but I have one particular cousin who's light-skinned, and he says lots of girls are like, I don't really date light-skinned guys. You guys are soft. Or you guys cry.
Yeah, this is a new thing though.
Do you know what I mean?
This is a new thing.
Well, I guess it's new, but he's young. So for him, it's actually all he's ever known.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So like, he's not in his 30s. Like he's like in his early 20s. And he's like, people are like, oh, you light-skinned, whatever, guys are soft, you're feminine. And it supports your theory, Angela, actually. If we think that light-skinned people are soft and feminine, they're soft and feminine, whether they're male or female. And if we think that dark-skinned people are strong or like more masculine, or I don't know if it's even like you're more sexy or mysterious, whatever, then that goes across the board, I think. And I think that's that's why perhaps we have, I'm just going to say it, people's dating preferences and types, like this, I'm not really, it's just my preference. And, you know, I just prefer to date somebody who's dark-skinned, or I prefer to date someone who's light-skinned. But I want to talk about preference. So at the moment, I'm a flexitarian, guys. I'm a flexitarian because I choose to be okay. Nobody at me. I don't want to hear. And actually, I firmly believe that the flexitarian is the best lifestyle. But anyway, it's a separate conversation.
How flexi?
In the week, I don't buy meat, and I don't eat meat in the week, and I eat meat on the weekends.
Oh, I actually thought, okay.
I'm a flexitarian.
That's you're
what
flexitarian
I mean.
In the truest form of flexitarian.
I am.
I thought you were talking.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna get there. Just
Okay,
let me land.
So
I feel like I prefer to have like meat on the weekends. But you know, if someone said, "Do you want to have some meat on a Wednesday?" I'll have meat on a Wednesday because I just prefer to have it on the weekend. But I don't want to like exclude myself from having it because I quite like meat. Do you know what I mean? Or if someone says, "Oh, do you want to be vegan on a Monday?" I'll be vegan on a Monday, but I don't mind being vegan on Sunday because it's my personal preference. But I'm not excluding myself from having it. So I feel like when people say, "Oh, you know what? I just prefer to date light-skinned people or dark-skinned people," I'm like, oh, okay, because having a preference means choosing between one or the other, and maybe like seven times out of 10 you're going to go for that, but the other 3 times out of 10 you're going to go for something else. That's a preference, everybody. That's a preference. When you exclusively date one shade or one race or another, that's not a preference. You are deciding not to date another race or maybe your own race, maybe that. Don't disguise that as a dating preference because it's not a preference. If you exclusively date one shade or if you exclusively date one particular race, it's not a preference. And I just want to let the world know there's also people out here who are disguising their colorism and their colorist views, which is what we're really talking about, light skin, dark skin, brown skin, whatever, and just saying it's my dating preference. And I think you touched on it a little bit, Angela. You said, I'm not too sure why it is that I like kind of wanted to date a dark-skinned guy. It's by what we consume. It's what you see. And everything leaves an imprint on your brain. And for me, I battled with this for a long time because I used to specifically date one type of person. It was very, very specific. It wasn't just light skin. It was very specific. To be very honest with you, the guys I used to date all looked the same, like literally. And then I just thought to myself, hold on a minute, am I an idiot? No.
Do you know what, actually?
Am I an idiot? I need to expand, and I need to consider why I'm only ever choosing these people and why that's my perception of like beauty, or that's what I want. Nah, it's silly, and it's based on what you're absorbing, and actually expand what you're absorbing, because to be honest with you, there's beauty in all things.
It's true. To be honest, for me, it's never only been one shade. However, I think, do you know, I'm starting to rack my brain and think where where has this come from? And I actually think that as girls, you tend to look for things in a partner that you're like, I need like what you see in your dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my dad is darker skinned.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, I actually think that's, to be honest with you. But then the thing is, because now it's the in thing in the media, you can't really decipher how much is the media. Because at one point, dark skinned guys were not the business.
That's what I wanted to say.
It was
like in 1999, 2000, 2001,
What?
Craig David and all these lighties with their little light eyes, their green eyes, the Michael Ealy's.
Very, very, very new. This dark skin is quite new, but I know even then.
But guys, it's dark skin with a beard. It's not just like you can't just be dark skinned. You have to be dark skinned. In my opinion, like I think that's the craze. It's like it's all together. It's like a package.
But I think even back then, I preferred, apart from Little Fizz, I preferred, like, my preference was still, it went against the grain of, like, so I can't figure out where it, like...
It probably is your dad. And by the way, I wasn't talking about...
No, I'm just trying to think, yeah.
I only ever used to like light-skinned, short, chubby guys. And my dad was short and chubby. That's like, for me, that's where security is. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? If anything ever happens, if we're like going to be in a hurricane, guess what? Everyone else is going to be knocked over, but we're going to remain standing. Like, it's foolishness, but that's where it came from. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, I'd kind of like, I'd entertain dating somebody who's completely separate to that, because actually that type doesn't really mean anything. I understand where it came from, but I'm also a flexitarian.
How flexy, going back to Linda's question, how flexy is your flexi?
I'm going to say categorically, I date black men. That's where we are. So it's a spectrum of black men. I don't really date outside my race. So I'm on the
preference
spectrum.
or type?
That's exclusive. So I exclusively date black men.
Is it kind of like support black owned businesses type thing?
You know what? I'm smiling so hard because I'm saying I exclusively date black men, but I actually did have a date with someone else. But we're gonna cut this out. Okay. I'm gonna say I like date. I'd say 9 times out of 10, I'd date a black guy. I won't say exclusively because I think there's always room, but 9 times out of 10, I'd date a black guy. And within that, I'm open to, like, to be honest with you, any shade. But like, honestly, Lyndon having that look of disappointment, it wasn't a look of disgust, it was a look of disappointment. And it was almost like, are you not smarter than that? Are you really that stupid to limit yourself to one particular type? That's foolishness, especially if a type is based on complexion. And I just thought to myself, do you know what, you need to have a word with yourself. You need to have a word with yourself. So then since then, I've really tried to be like a lot more open, and to be very honest with you, people are people, and I'm definitely not going to limit my options based on a particular complexion.
Absolutely not,
because character is actually the driving force.
Absolutely not. Yes,
and God forbid I get what I thought I would want, and I'm out here crying with 4 children and no house to live in. No thanks.
Wow. Not homeless.
No. Like, God forbid. But that's women talking about guys. Lyndon, what about guys talking about women? Because I think that's actually something that happens on a much greater scale. And my best friend stays telling me, she's like, I don't know why you're out here dating black guys, because they're not trying to date you. And she tells me that on a regular basis.
They. Oh.
Huh?
They.
Yes.
All of them.
Lyndon.
Listen, but when we talk about white people, we're not talking about all of them. When we talk about women, we're not talking about all of them. When we're talking about the UK, we're not talking about all of it. We're just making a generalized statement.
Then it's not smart to make a generalized statement.
Lyndon, we already know
at
that.
all. But having said that, I did have a conversation with some guys at university. I think I was in the final year.
Church. Sorry.
You what?
I thought you were going to say some guys at church.
No, university.
No? Okay.
No. Yeah. So I was in my final year. These guys are in their first year. And I was just talking to them, and they were talking about some girls that were just like over the way. And they were talking about which ones they liked. And they were all talking about the light-skinned girls. And I said, what about that one? This other girl was dark-skinned and clearly prettier than all the other ones, in my opinion. And they said, nah, she's too dark, fam. She's too dark. I'm like, what? What do you mean she's too dark? It's like, yeah, she's too dark for me. I was like, fam, you are blacker than midnight. What do you mean? What do you mean she's too dark for you? It's like, nah, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. So there are some guys out there that really just...
Only some?
Yeah. Well, those are the ones that I spoke to, yeah.
Is the some the majority?
In society, obviously you don't know everybody, do you, Lyndon?
No, don't know everybody.
In society, if we were to think about like what's present, like what's been represented in social media, video, music videos, radio, like magazines, films, what would you say?
I'm not gonna let the media I'm not gonna let the media No. So if you said social media, you said social media, you said TV, you said films, you said all that stuff.
Music companies and who they decide to put.
That's not dating, is it? That's not dating.
It doesn't matter. But listen,
that's not dating.
But when you're putting out a female artist, you want the male audience wants. Yeah, you want the male audience to want to date her. And I feel like if there's a light skinned girl and a dark skinned girl, and they go into a music whatever. What do you call it?
Record label?
There we go. And they who are mostly, there's a lot of men in there who make some of the decisions. The light skinned girl, even if she had a little bit less talent, would probably be picked over the dark skinned, very talented.
We talk about video girls.
Oh, you talking about singers, video
dancers,
girls,
women
anybody.
in any form, any form of entertainment. Yes.
Yeah. So I made a little list, right?
No, don't sidestep that. You can use that to back your answer, because I know what answer you're going to give. Yeah. So you can say the answer and then back it up with the list. Do you feel like men in general? Not men in general, but go on.
Oh.
Okay, so
if you had to represent men in general, which we know is very difficult because you don't know all men. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you had to finish your question,
do you think that there is a preference towards one shade?
Yeah.
What? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what shade is that?
What's the preference?
To lighter shade.
So men in general have a preference to lighter shade.
I don't want to say that.
Hey.
I don't want to say that because it's not. No, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna do that to me, right? So
to you, we
there
know
is a preference of those in certain fields.
You can't say there is the preference. Are you talking about lesbian women or are you talking about men?
I don't know. Hold on. This is not. Wait. So these, like, for example, all these videos, right? They'll probably go for an agency and say, "I'll just send over some girls." Those agencies will send over the girls that they have, right?
Who make the money because they're in demand.
Hey, what?
Well, they'll send over the girls that they have, but they'll send over girls that can get them business and keep them getting money, which are probably the light-skinned girls, because that's what the people want. Yeah. No,
but you're conflating two different things. You're talking about whether men in general just prefer light-skinned girls, or whether they've been shown light-skinned girls on the media or anything else.
Who's showing light-skinned girls? Men. The men behind the camera are showing light-skinned girls, the men who are...
I mean, there might be men behind the camera. There might be
Lyndon, let's just be real about
but they're two separate things.
Yeah, you're right. They're two separate things. But like, if we're going to talk generally about like the media and entertainment industry...
Why would you make it more general? If we're going to talk about it properly, right? Why would you make it more general?
All right,
so two separate things, right?
Okay.
So there's guys dating. Huh?
Go ahead, land.
So all right, there's choosing women that you want to date, right?
Yeah.
Is one thing.
Yeah.
I can't really say.
Of course, that's not for you.
But then,
you don't know, sure.
Yeah, but then there's media agencies and they're showing, and most likely they're showing light-skinned women, right? I think that men of my generation have grown up seeing a certain type of woman as desirable. So they've grown up seeing that, and they grow up believing that that's what they think. That's what maybe they'll get a little bit more props from their guys, or if they can get light-skinned girl.
Like a trophy, or like it's acceptable, like a trophy. Okay, yeah, I hear that.
I don't think that it's a natural thing that.
You're not born with a preference.
You're not born with a preference.
Absolutely
Well,
not.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Not.
Okay,
Your preference is based upon experiences, and it's based upon what you see to be beautiful, and and perhaps what you have experienced as beautiful or loving or attractive in your own household, right? Mm-hmm. Like they say, women go for men who remind them of their fathers. I don't know if it's the same thing about women. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't think so. But like, I definitely hear that. For me, I guess you're talking specifically about your generation and slightly younger. I'm talking specifically about now, like the status quo, as in now.
It's the same now.
I think it's even more exaggerated, because I think growing up, I don't think I heard my male peers saying, "I want a girl who's exotic." I don't really remember.
No, it's changed from
that.
lights. It's from people wanting fair black girls to girls we can't tell where they're from.
Racially ambiguous.
Right? They're not white, they're not black, they're not Asian. They just.
Yeah. And I think we can see that even with those examples of girls, what's it called? Blackfishing on Instagram and Facebook. Like it's become really popular to kind of be looking a bit more tan, to maybe wearing my hair in like K-Rose or box braids, doing my edges. Do you know what I mean? Like those sorts of things that were synonymous with black and I guess like South American culture, like whatever. And I think that racially ambiguous thing now, before, I personally think it wasn't so much lauded and spoken about. Yeah. But now, if I ask my guy cousins, or if I'm just listening, or like even social media, guys are like, oh, this girl bangs, this girl bangs, this girl, nah. And they'll say, I want an exotic girl, as opposed to, I want a lighty. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm not a guy. I can't speak for all guys. And I don't even know if I'm speaking specifically about black men. But yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I remember I had a conversation with a friend about a guy who we both knew, who was dark-skinned, very lovely smooth skin, actually. Like I don't have that kind of texture skin, and it makes me upset, but whatever. Like I don't have that smooth, like almost like, I don't know, like smooth dark skin. That's not how my skin is, but whatever. And he had said very clearly, I'm only dating light-skinned girls, and dark-skinned girls fade into the background. Yeah. I said to my friend, whoa, that's out of control. And I was so angry, and I was really, really angry about it. And to be honest, she was like, well, why do you care so much? I said, you know what, I think I care so much because I expected better of him. So the same way, Lyndon, that you were like, Fabrice, you're acting out of control, or Angela, acting out of control, I really expected better from him.
Well, you said what? That was much worse.
Well, yeah, it was much worse. It was much worse, but I expected so much better, and I just kind of said, but everybody in your family is your complexion. And I think that's what hurt me. So I was thinking, gosh, if I have a child who looks like me, and everybody in our family is the same shade, which is, by the way, not going to be very common, to be honest, in my family. We're all different shades, but whatever. So this particular individual, everybody in their immediate and like extended family was their complexion. But you're saying now you're not going to entertain anybody of your own complexion because dark-skinned people fade into the background. And then I realized, you know what? I'm going to stop being angry, because I think it actually says more about you and how you feel about yourself than it does. And so I had to really separate the two, because I was so frustrated about it. And I thought, nah, this is a problem that you have. And I actually think to myself, maybe that's also where some of it comes from.
People, I don't know if there's any other race in the world exclusively dates not their own their own race. It only happens with black men. It's a bit of a...
But where's it come from?
The devil. Because, to be honest,
it doesn't make sense.
Men are going to blame the media is going to blame the men,
yeah.
And then you go back and forth. I think it comes from that. Obviously, it comes from, like, the effects of slavery, and and just like colonization and feeling like, proximity to whiteness, like whatever's closer to whiteness is best.
Yeah.
And trying to distance yourself, and whatever is darker, the darker you are, the closer to like animalistic. The more animalistic you are, I think people trying to distance themselves from that.
That's true, because you know what, people fetishize black men for particular things.
Yeah.
They don't think, they don't say, you know what, I really want to date, this is very rude, but you're going to get the point. I want to date Ola or Tunde because he's really intelligent, and I just know that he's going to sit me down and he's going to like blow my mind because he's really intelligent. That's not what they say. That's not where it's coming from. Do you know what I mean? Like, a lot of my friends or a lot of people that I know will talk about like, oh yeah, I want to date a dark-skinned black guy, or dark-skinned men are really sexy, or like I know like by looking at him, oh my goodness, he's going to give me a good time. I'm like, really? But then also the same thing happens for dark-skinned women. So as much as I think there's definitely there's issues around representation and whether or not dark-skinned women are seen to be more masculine and less feminine, blah, 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 I also think that dark-skinned women are fetishized in a different way than light-skinned women are. And I think it's about being wild and untamed. Do you know what I mean? And I guess I don't really know how to change that. Like, even remember, Yewande said, oh yeah, I don't really date mixed race men because I think they're a bit like feminine. So like,
wild.
It is wild, isn't it? Because like, it's not their fault. They're mixed race. The same way she can't change her complexion, they can't change theirs. Yeah. And I thought that was mad because she was frustrated and I was frustrated, and to be fair, so was the whole of England for Yewande about lots of things on Love Island. And I definitely think she experienced the brunt of lots of stuff because she looks a particular type and she was a particular kind of black woman on TV. Had she been light up, there's no way she would have experienced what she experienced at all. But then at the same time, she's saying, yeah, I wouldn't have really gone for Michael because he's mixed race and I don't really date mixed race men.
And so this is why I feel like, actually, you know, usually because of like colorism, I think the way we've known it, so like lighter being better, whether it be like when back in the day when it was like light-skinned guys, now when it's not even light-skinned women anymore, it's like racially ambiguous, people are quick to call out preferences for lighter skin, whatever. But I feel like we should call out all preferences, like what Lyndon did, because actually there's an issue. Like, even if you're saying, even if, say, for example, someone will be quick to call out a preference for, like I say, a light-skinned girl, because we're sick and tired of hearing that, yeah? But if someone said, oh, my preference is, or my type is dark-skinned women, we would let that go, but that can, we need to start questioning, why is it that same, I don't know, fetishizing of like dark-skinned women, and will it end up where now dark-skinned men, where they are now, like how we think about them and how we talk about them and view them? Like, I just feel like, do we ban all, or are we not cancelling, but are we against all preferences and all colour, like all preferences for particular colours?
All preferences. I think so. I think we have to, like, to be honest, I think the only way to move forward is to just be like, I want to date somebody who's got good character.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so that basically eradicates type.
What if that character includes a white person?
Oh, I wish you could see this right now.
Angela, let's ask you a question.
No, he actually looking your way.
I don't know how else to say this. I only speak English for now, but Spanish is coming along. I'm trying every day, Jesus. My phone's in Spanish. I'll say this again. I said I exclusively date black men, and I don't have an issue with that. And I'm happy to say that with my chest. However, 9 times out of 10, I'll date a black guy. But actually, I would probably consider dating another race. So but it would not be exclusive. So now, like, it's like 10%. There's like a 10% option, to be honest with you, but like like a 10% wild card, but 9 times out of 10 I'd date a black guy, and that's what I'm looking for. But character is actually the most important thing,
and I think you're allowed to say that. Do you know why? Because
I'm black.
And also because when you talk about race, you're talking about more than a shade of the skin. You're talking about culture, you're talking about community, you're talking about a whole range of things that actually there's not that difference. You're talking about a light-skinned guy and a dark-skinned guy, that really and truly you've really zoned it. What do you call it? you've zoomed into just like narrowed it down to just the skin tone, and it actually probably has no substance behind that apart from that. Whereas when you're talking about race, you're talking about culture as well, and other things that go with that. So okay.
Before, honestly, when I was younger, I'd say I'm only dating Caribbean guys. Do you know why? Because I only knew Caribbean guys. Like I've said many times before, I didn't grow up with anybody who wasn't like Jamaica. Like everybody I knew in my community was Caribbean. We didn't really have anybody who was African until I left to go to university. That's when we had our first Nigerian family at church, and I had left. So up until that point, I said I'm only dating Caribbean guys. That's all I knew. And then I went to university, and actually my boyfriend at university was Nigerian. And then after that, I said, I'm not dating Nigerian guys. But don't worry about that. I've actually come full circle. Now I'm going on character.
Can I just say that was Fabrice speaking. So when you come for everyone, just know that you're coming for Fabrice Baker Livingston.
Thank God for growth. Because the guy I was dating at university, Nigerian, Caribbean, like whatever, his character was a mess. Do you know what I mean? Like it was a mess. But yeah, it has to be character. I think decent people deserve decent people. That's what I think. And to be honest with you, I don't like this whole dating preferences. I still maintain, I think there's lots of people, men, women, like whatever, who are unhappy with themselves or who are trying to play like eugenics and trying to create like a family that looks like what they think happiness represents. But I'm going to remind everybody that we are descendants of slaves, especially people from the Caribbean. So let me tell you, your DNA, you can't plan it. It's not how life works. You might be dark-skinned and your partner might be racially ambiguous, or light-skinned, and you might have 3 dark-skinned children. Do you know what I mean? So like, I just think we deserve to be better than the experiment of someone's like unhappiness. And I think if we aim for that, if we aim for I want to date someone who's got great character, depending whatever race you want that to be, then I think it's fine. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That's where I am. How would you describe yourselves? Because I am darker than you, and I'll say I'm dark skinned. So Lyndon, how do you describe yourself?
Neither
what?
Neither dark, neither light.
So where are you?
In the middle.
All right.
That's it. What else can I say?
So if someone describes your life,
usually I change depending on the season anyway.
Do you?
Yeah.
I was gonna say yeah. In
the summer, like now, I'm a little bit darker. But then by the time we get to December,
now?
Yeah. And then by December, I'm back to what I was.
You know what? My mum says the same thing. My mum says she goes yellow in the bone.
My skin has changed so much. Of like when I go on holiday to go to Jamaica, I come back looking very, very, very dark. Like really dark, and then it will go back to normal.
But Andrew, you went to Kenya, and I don't feel like you came back darker. But I don't know what you were doing. Like, were you in the sun or no?
We were in the sun. Can I just say, I get a heat stroke so easy, so I'm out here just standing in the
such
shade
a princess.
anyway.
I've had enough.
I feel like I get tanned very easily and very, very violently.
Really?
Yeah. Like in 2 days, I'm already darker.
Right. I don't think I tan that quickly. Guys, you know, this is the end and then I'm going to finish. I was dating a guy and we went on holiday and he said to me, I don't think you're going to tan that much, you know? And I was like, is that an issue for you? He's like, yeah, to be honest,
What?
It is a little bit.
My gosh.
What?
He was like, I didn't think you were going to tan that much. So I said, I went on holiday, I was dating a guy, I came back and he just said, wow, I didn't know that you were going to get that dark.
Do you know, I was watching a YouTuber, can I just say, this is another weird one. I was watching a YouTuber and she went, on holiday. I can't remember where she went to. Somewhere in the Caribbean on holiday. She went with a group of friends.
We can't hear you, know.
She went on holiday. She went with a group of friends. And she was, I think the rest of her friends were light skinned, and she was darker. And she was on the beach. And where she was, one of the guys on the beach were like to her, like one of the locals were like to her, you shouldn't be out here in the sun. Yeah.
What?
Like you shouldn't be out. Like
why?
Like are you sure you want to be out here in the sun?
Why?
And she's like, yeah, no, I'm cool. I'm fine with being in the sun. That's not a problem. But like wild. Like
you came back from Kenya.
Did I have a? Yeah, I did. I was wearing my summer foundation. I absolutely did.
Oh, okay, all right.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, because I'm out here not wearing sunscreen, so that's why I get black.
Lyndon, you need to be wearing sunscreen because thank you, because skin cancer does not discriminate.
Listen, people, do you
What's
know
wrong
what?
with everybody?
The white people in my work say, actually, even in school, oh my gosh, do you need to wear sunscreen? I want to say,
Everybody
do you
needs to wear
think that
sunscreen.
my skin is made out of rubber? When you take off this first layer, it's still flesh, you know? We're not made out of metal.
I don't know what's wrong with black people. We all need to recognize that we need to wear sunscreen.
I know. Oh yeah, I know. All right.
Thank you for coming to my second TED Talk. All right, guys. So do you know what? I want to do a section called Clap for Yourself. And I want to shout out people who I think are being fantastic currently. The first person I'm going to nominate...
Wait, is it a Clap for Yourself of the dark skin edition?
Thank you, Angela.
Just
it's
making
Clap
sure.
for Yourself, dark skin edition.
Yeah.
But actually, given that we've spoken about race and just being a good character...
I mean, this is Black No Filter. We've got a lot of time to shout out every black person. I feel like this one can be for...
dark skin people.
Yeah.
All right, wicked.
Wait, should we do a slap for yourself first?
Oh, yeah, let's do...
Slap yourself.
Slap yourself.
Mm-hmm. Slap yourself.
Do we have anyone to slap?
I mean, I haven't got those people.
We can't talk about people that we personally know, do we?
No.
Celebrities.
Oh yeah, slap. No, was it 50 Cent or
It's all
Trey
of them.
songs?
It's all of them.
Everybody can get a slap today.
I think we can slap 50 Cent and Trey songs together
Why?
Why?
for changing the Power theme song.
Oh, we're just giving slaps out like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it had to be relevant slaps.
No,
Everybody
then
get a
dark
slap
skin.
today.
Then it's dark skin.
Oh, I thought you.
Wait, so hold on. Today we're already slapping black people.
We're only slapping and clapping dark skin people.
Oh
Hello?
yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
Hello,
actually.
it's dark skin
I feel
edition.
like, if you can be up for a clap, you can. Be
Yeah.
up for a
So
slap.
today's slap yourself goes to 50 Cent and Trey songs for messing up the Power Season 6 theme song.
I haven't even heard the season 16 song. I refuse.
Do you know what? I didn't even watch Power, but I've heard it a number of times.
Really?
Let me tell you, the Shade Room, the people who go in the Shade Room leave comments, they are undefeated. The comments I saw, Trey Songz said, oh, I'm about to, what did he say? He said something like, you lot better stop with this Power theme song mess. I'm going to slap you. And somebody said the way you should have slapped the song. I died. I don't even watch Power, guys. I know, but I'm here
I didn't go watch the first
laughing.
season.
But yeah. 50 Cent and Trey Songz need a slap because they're out of control doing nonsense. Am I allowed to say that I want to slap P. Diddy for this nonsense that he's doing with Steve Harvey's young girl?
That's just
who's
wild
22,
on
23.
Several different levels.
I just don't even know what to say.
I mean, you can't just.
What?
I mean, okay, fine, slap him.
We can slap him and he can come and collect that slap.
Wait, what are we slapping him
The
for?
way he went to collect people's daughters.
What we?
Yeah.
What are we slapping him for?
That's not your-
dating someone who dated his son and is young enough to be his daughter. Yes, she did.
That's not your age mate, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
she did.
I didn't know she dated his son.
He's 51, Lyndon.
And the girl's 20 what?
22, maybe 23.
My God.
One of the two.
Yeah.
That's slap yourself.
And can we slap Steve Harvey as well? What's he doing? He's
I
out here
mean,
giving the nation advice. Why is he not advising himself?
Do you know what?
Think like a
Common
man.
sense is not very common, and I don't think he has it.
Oh my God.
But I don't think he's got. Is he still got a syndicated show?
I don't know.
Let's move over swiftly.
All
Swiftly moving on to clap for yourself.
For yourself.
Yeah.
I want to go first. You know what? Yeah, I've always liked this girl,
Me too.
but I've recently come to love her.
Me too.
And I don't understand what it is.
I do.
Jackie Aina. I
Love her.
love her.
Love her.
Love her. Love her. So she is a YouTube personality. She's a makeup. She's actually like a makeup artist as her day job, isn't it? Yeah, that's her day job.
Yeah, but she doesn't do people's makeup anymore.
No, but that's what she used to do.
Yeah.
When I, you know what? I actually started watching her a long time ago on YouTube. When I was looking for like how to do makeup on dark skin. That's actually what she was known for. Anyway, whatever. She talks about so many different things, but I was doing a lot of research about her, and she had a partnership with a very famous fast fashion online retailer that lots of Americans and people are endorsed
We
by.
can use their name.
Can we say their name?
Yeah, because she says.
Oh, Fashion Nova.
Yeah, Fashion Nova.
Yeah, so she had like a partnership with Fashion Nova. Yeah, and then she, I think she asked them questions twice about the lack of representation of dark-skinned women on their Instagram and on their website, and they kind of came back and said, "Oh, what are you talking about? We've got women of color on there." And she was like, "That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking why you don't have any black women because you actually advertise on the Shade Room, which is a black blog. It's not a women of color blog; it's a black blog." And anyway, so she decided that she was going to part ways with them over their blatant targeting of black audiences, but refusal to use black models on their Instagram. And I just said, do you know what, babes? You deserve a round of applause.
Absolutely.
Because no one else is, everywhere you look, everyone's Fashion Nova, Fashion Nova, Fashion Nova. But actually, she was just like, hold on a minute. I have an issue with the fact that you're not putting up girls who look like me. And she was like, I have a duty of care, and I wasn't happy. I asked them twice. So now we've parted ways, and I actually think, I don't know if she had to pay to get out of the contract, but she sent her clothes back and everything. She's like, nah, I'm over it.
She's amazing. I love her.
She's great.
She's hilarious. She's just, she's lovely.
She's very relevant. She's sensible. I just like her.
Yeah.
That's mine.
But Burna Boy's been killing it for a while.
Sick, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah, he's sick. I don't know if he's actually... Is he actually sick?
What do you mean?
He's just doing well right now. He's everyone's listening to his music, like everyone.
Yeah.
Not just African Caribbean, everyone's listening to his music.
I went to a pub. Can I just say quickly? I went to a pub in a very white area for a white, not for a white, for a white dinner. No, for a work dinner, which is basically a white dinner because I'm the only black person there.
Yeah.
And they were playing Burna Boy in the pub.
What were they playing?
I feel like they were playing, oh gosh.
Location?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Something like that. And
it would be the Stave.
And I invited my sister to come because I just wanted someone to be around at the work dinner, and people bring the spouses, isn't it? She was like, "What? They're playing Afrobeats in here."
Is it Afrobeats, Lyndon? That location song with Dave?
No, it's not.
Afro swinging.
Well, after that, they
played
played another Afrobeat song.
Did they?
Yeah, I was very shocked. They played a Wizkid song. I think they played Fever.
Wow.
Yeah. In a pub, in a proper pub.
Afrobeats is what R&B used to be, in my opinion, but that's a separate conversation.
Whoa.
Not in a negative way.
Whoa.
No. I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a positive way.
Oh, yeah. No.
What I mean is everybody wants to have it.
Yeah.
And everybody, so like the same way that you have Blue Eyed Soul, I think sooner or later you're going to have white people singing about Afrobeats. And I'm just letting everyone know.
Already have.
They're already doing that.
Who?
Ed Sheeran.
Oh, he did it time ago.
Yeah.
But then, what's her name? Mabel.
Okay, so we have who? We've got Jackie Aina.
Burna Boy.
That was a half clap because you tore out of it.
Yeah, you said, is he really great though? And I was like,
No, I'm talking about... No. He's done very well. That's it.
Lyndon, that's like a half compliment.
No, I'm just saying he's not like the best rapper or singer like you've ever heard.
But currently, right now,
the music that he's made, it bangs.
Okay.
That's it.
And he's very intelligent, you know, and he's intentional. I like him because he's intentional. Like in his latest video, he's got some dark-skinned girl with like, China bumps. Like Bantu knots, like in the back of his thing. That's not very common. That's not a common thing at all. Angela.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Come on, it's yours.
My one?
Yeah.
My clap for yourself. Dark skin audition. Dark skin edition, not dark skin audition. Mm-hmm. Goes to our very own Fabrice.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
For being the driving force for us coming back today.
Here we go.
Guys, she's heard your cries, and we have come back. We've all heard your cries, to be very honest with you. But yeah, why not give a clap for yourself for our very own dark skin girl.
Thank you. Clap for yourself, everybody. Thank you. Right, guys, that's it. Over and out.
Oh, it's like that. See you next time.
All right.
Very soon.
Peace out.